Hi everyone. I am here to read yet another chapter from Kitchen Table Wisdom. This one is called Getting It Right. And I really think this one too is very timely with everything that's going on right now. Hopefully at the end you will hear compassion and love, and maybe that is something that we can all learn a little something through with just listening to this chapter. So here I go, Getting It Right. I had first met George when he was a fourth-year student at Berkeley, the year his father had been diagnosed with prostate cancer. Now in his final year of graduate school, he had come back because of problems that he did not feel he could discuss elsewhere. When his dad had been ill, his housemate Michael had been his greatest support. Now Michael was in trouble, traveling in a hard partying crowd that used cocaine socially. George felt that Michael was becoming addicted. All his tactful efforts to discuss this possibility went unheard. Michael's brilliance more than compensated for his habit, and he continued to do so well at school that no one but George suspected his problem. George was a serious practitioner of Buddhism. As he understood it, the core of this spiritual teaching is a position of non-judgment and non-interference. This did not come easily to George. His family routinely criticized each other and told each other how to live. Holding what he took to be a Buddhist position toward Michael got even harder for him as Michael became more and more erratic in his personal behavior. George was uncertain what to do, and so he had come to sort things out. Their relationship reached a crisis point one evening when George brought home a young woman whose opinion mattered a great deal to him. Opening the front door, he was stunned to find Michael shirtless and dazed, sprawled on the living room floor. He had vomited on himself. I looked at the expression on Liz's face and I just lost it, George told me ruefully. I picked Michael up, pushed him into the bathroom, turned on the shower, and shoved him into it. I remember standing there with the cold water pouring down on both of us, slamming him against the wall and shouting the most terrible things. I called him names. I told him all the things I had struggled for months not to think and feel, and then I gave him an ultimatum: clean up or get out. It was just too hard to watch him throw himself away, and I was not going to do it. When he seemed awake, I changed my wet clothes and went home with Liz. In the morning, George was contrite and disheartened. 10 years of Buddhist practice, and he had reacted exactly as his own father would have reacted. He had failed to meet his own standards of compassion. He had judged Michael so harshly, and he was bitterly disappointed in himself. He dreaded going back to the apartment. Maybe Michael would not be there. But Michael was there, pale and obviously unwell, but straight. Michael was sitting on the couch waiting. They talked. George heard about things he had not known, how Michael, the only child of a socially prominent and wealthy family, had been raised by paid strangers and sent away to boarding school at 7. How he had been sent away to camp during the summers, how he had been given anything he wanted, but no one had thought him worth their time or attention. No one had even cared what he did with himself, the way that George seemed to care last night. In the shower, Michael had understood that his life mattered to George, that what he was doing was causing George pain. Quietly, he told George that he knew he was in trouble, had known it for months, but hadn't thought that anyone would care to help, would spend the time to help. "Would you help me, George?" he asked, and began to cry. This all happened some years ago, and the story has a happy ending. For a year, the two went nightly to a cocaine addiction program. It wasn't easy, but together they were successful. Michael is now a well-established businessman with a loving wife and a small child. George, in reflecting back on his time, feels that it was a major learning experience for him. "I was always trying to get it right. Between Buddhism and business school, I was always working on myself, my reactions, and my feelings to meet some standard of excellence. Somehow, it had never occurred to me that who I really was could be all right. If God had wanted Michael to live with Buddha, he would have given him Buddha for a roommate. Instead, he gave him a caring middle-class guy from a traditional Midwestern family whose parents had never even been drunk. When I finally acted from my integrity, I was just what was needed. In the end, all I had to give to Michael was my integrity, and that was enough." I love that chapter, and I hope it resonates with everybody and that everyone can relate to that in some way. I think we've all been in a position where you wonder, how truthful do you want to be with somebody? And it's not to be, untruthful. It's really about maybe hurting their feelings or something like that. But what I love about this story is that it just shows how when you are in your truth, your integrity, how that really helps the situation. And going back to the whole reason why I'm doing these chapter readings is because of the state of our world right now. I really hope that that message can resonate with people. One thing I want to share with this, I just discovered this the other day and I think it's fantastic. I know this is going to be a little hard to see and I'll blow it up in a minute, but it's the title there is how are you feeling? But when I actually Googled it and looked into it more, it's something called the feelings wheel. And my cat is meowing at me. Hi, Henry. What I like about it is in the middle, there are 6 key emotions. And if you look at it, the top emotions are, pretty negative and dark emotions, and the bottom are very positive and light. And if you look at it, they're opposite of each other. So sad is opposite of happy, because if you're happy, you're not going to be sad. And if you're scared, you're not peaceful. So I really like just the whole layout of this. But what I like about it even more, those are 6 very key emotions that people can feel and that people can react to. So I'm going to use angry for a minute. If you encounter somebody at the grocery store fighting for the last roll of toilet paper or something like that, that person could be very angry, and you could walk away and be like, my God, what a dick, because they were just so angry. But actually, maybe what is happening from that anger, maybe it's actually because they are hurt by something. And maybe they're hurt because they're distrustful of a situation. And so when you can actually take that immediate emotion that person is showing and that you're reacting to, and if you actually peel it apart just a little bit, sometimes it's a little bit easier to understand. And then therefore, when we understand, we are quite a bit more compassionate. And I think that's the key message right now, is being compassionate to people in the situation right now. So, and just using, and I think grocery stores now are being restocked, and they've been restocked all along, but I think people have kind of calmed down a little bit. So I believe that finding certain things in the grocery store are not as dire as what they were even just a few days ago. But, using that as a situation, and not that, you want to give people, relieve some of their actions too much, because it definitely is a trickle down system, and I get that. But you know what? Maybe somebody reacted a certain way at a grocery store because, maybe they simply don't have any extra money right now to be buying groceries, and it's just not the time for them, but yet they have to throw all of this on a credit card because they have no other choice. Well, that's going to trigger some anger. It's going to trigger some, being scared, that type of thing. And so just using that as an example is one I want to end with and share with, and just, as best we can, put ourselves in another person's shoes. And when we do that, hopefully, compassion and love will rise to the top. So, all right, everybody have a fantastic day, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.